That is true. Traditionally, across Europe, 90% of the SME funding was provided by banks. I think, SMEs are this kind of strange animal in the middle between large corporates and private individuals. The best way to reach market efficiency is actually when the buyer also knows which one are lemons, so not the good ones, and peaches, the great ones.
Gabriele, it's a pleasure to have you today as part of this new ReachX series.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, it's super cool, and we're gonna have such a really cool chat. We're gonna speak about your company. We're gonna speak about as well like what you guys do in terms of the SME funding, and we're gonna have a lot of, I'm sure, insights from you. So maybe before kicking off, can you please introduce yourself and your company?
Sure. My name is Gabriele Sabato. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Wiserfunding. Wiserfunding is a company we incorporated 5 years ago in the UK, and we are specialized in the credit risk assessment of SMEs. And since then, we've actually grown quite substantially. We now have 2 subsidiaries, one in Italy and one in India, and more than 70 clients globally. And just to give you another number, last year, thanks to our tool, our clients have lent more than 3 billion globally. So quite an exciting number.
That's indeed a pretty huge number. So I wanted to have your views on something that was checking recently. You mentioned that huge number right now. But I wanted to understand a little bit, how did you see the evolution as well of the funding throughout the year? Because it's not just a spot 2020 or 2021. Like, has there been a trend, and how do you think has the SME funding evolved over the past years?
Well, I think it's well known that SMEs have always struggled with funding. And they have always complained, probably rightly, that they were facing a lot of challenges to access funding. And that is true. Traditionally, across Europe, 90% of the SME funding was provided by banks. And one of the positive sides of our previous crisis, the 2008-2009, was actually to bring out these new entities that have got different names, but most commonly known as alternative lenders, alternative to probably banks. They came out because banks at that time had the proper credit crunch, so they didn't have enough capital to continue to lend to very risky SMEs. So someone else had to take that place. They jumped in, they did very well, they got a lot of market share, and very quickly, I think the market realized that that wasn't just a temporary fit. It was something that was really going into the direction of where SMEs wanted to go, to fill a gap in their needs with tools, with a business proposition that could really resonate well with this type of companies. This was completely lacking before. I think, SMEs are this kind of strange animal in the middle between large corporates and private individuals. And banks, I think, always struggled to find the right way to address those companies. So the trends that we see across Europe is a very large growth in terms of funding. I mean, we see that obviously on the equity side, been exponentially growing. Obviously, since the 2008 crisis, cash funds have been quite cheap. And so that has played a major role. The leverage of all companies across Europe has grown tremendously, and probably now, because of the pandemic, obviously even faster than maybe it should have grown. So definitely a positive trend in terms of accessing the funds that they need. But I think a lot still needs to happen there to properly create that kind of offer that can allow everyone to access the funds they need.
And speaking about the offer, by the way, what are the new sources of alternative, fundings that is alternative funding that is available right now for SMEs?
Well, a lot of those lenders are non-bank lenders. so they don't have a banking license. And what they do, they try to reach out to SMEs at the moment they need the funds. So that could be invoice finance. It's a typical example, very powerful. Trade finance. So I'm actually doing trade. I need finance for that. I've got an invoice. I need to improve my cash flow. So it's at the moment of need. And this is an extremely powerful way. Why? Before you had to go and negotiate with the bank. Yeah. Today, digitally, you can access all these products very quickly. And because of the amount of data we have around, you can actually get approved also very quickly. Yeah. So this is like what really makes different today's proposition with the old-fashioned style.
Okay, that's super cool. And you need funding. You gotta go. You gotta obviously at some point people are gonna check your credit ratings. Whether it's people are gonna provide you with money, other companies, third parties. Why is credit rating really important for both? I mean, for lenders and for borrowers.
Well, I guess it goes back to the old problem of lemon and peaches. I don't know if you're familiar with the study.
I'm not. Please do explain this to me.
Well, it's an old study from Arkloff that basically was saying, well, in this case, where used cars, and basically when you would go there, the dealer would know which cars between the used ones was better than the other, but you wouldn't. You see all these cars, they all look nice, and that information asymmetry doesn't help the market to develop. And so the best way to reach market efficiency is actually when the buyer also knows which one are lemons, so not the good ones, and peaches, the great ones. And that study became very famous. Information asymmetry became a big topic in finance, but that problem is still very relevant today in the SME market. I think definitely don't have that level of efficiency because the market is very opaque. And in fact, that's what we try to solve at Wiserfunding, help a little bit to reduce that information asymmetry. So helping the lenders, the investors, the asset management firms to get a better view of which one are lemons and which one are peaches. And that actually helps the whole market because funds are better allocated. In a time where, the key word today, I'm sure is embedded finance. To truly embed finance in everything we do, we need to understand who we are talking to and build that little bit of trust. And the only way to build that trust is if I know really what's your credit profile. And that is the key element here to reduce the information asymmetry.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, information is going to be, and data is going to be key to make this. Data is going to be key, obviously, to kind of understand these kind of elements. What is today currently your company, Wiserfunding, offering to help investors in their decision, and to make their decision, or in a way in their decision making process? What do you guys provide them?
Well, we basically provide access to a platform where anyone can immediately understand the credit quality of any company across the entire world. So with just a simple company number, imagine you connect our platform to your CRM, and the moment someone flows into your CRM, you immediately know anything you would like to know about that company. So we save you about 3-4 hours of time of going around, searching on Google, searching on social media, looking at our website, looking at our financials. So that's the efficiency gain on one side. And the other is obviously giving you a summary of all that with our credit assessment that helps you to take better decisions. And so these are the two main services that we really provide.
Okay, that's super. Gabriele, sorry, I lost you for a second. We're gonna cut this part. No, that's super cool. In terms of one last question, and I wanted really to kind of have a practical question for you. Have you had any use cases where you helped or Wiserfunding helped materially actually improve the cost of funding for a borrower?
Well, yeah, I mean, today we have 50% of our clients are non-bank lender, 25% are banks, and another 25% are asset management and insurance firms. And, if I take a couple of those clients, so there is a property lender in the UK. We've been working with them for almost 3 years now. And I can, tell you that they've managed to go through this whole pandemic period with very, very low default rates. So since they started to work with us, their kind of provisions, so the cost of their lending went down 30%.
Yeah.
And the efficiency gains that they realized are probably about 30-40% reduction in time in looking at each single company. So this is one property lender in the UK. There is a bank in Italy. We've been working with them now for 2 years. And again, there we have seen a reduction of 25% in their default rates. So again, massive improvements in their provisions. And that's really what we want to see, that type of customer journey that improves. Customer journey in terms of speed, customer journey in terms of selecting the best receiver of the funds of our clients.
That's super cool. Well, a big thank you for joining us tonight, Gabriele. It's really a pleasure to have you as part of this new ReachX series. And we would love to have you again at some point soon in the next month or next year.
Absolutely. That would be a pleasure. And thank you so much for having me.
Thank you very much, Gabriele.